Next, we're gonna work on a Hanumanasana, otherwise known as monkey pose. And so this is, in layman's terms, also called a split. So I'm gonna break this down into two movements and then we're gonna combine them into one. So this is a pretty intense posture. It's gonna require a lot of flexibility and mobility in the hips. So make sure that you're warmed up, and your warm up should include finding length through the back of your legs, your hamstrings, as well as the front of your hip flexors. So let's get started. We're gonna start warming up the front of the hips in a low lunge or a crescent lunge. So with this position, you can use your blocks or not. Because I'm not warmed up, I am gonna use my blocks, but you don't have to. And we're gonna start by stepping one foot forward. So we're really finding length through the right hip when we step the left leg forward. From here, you can use your blocks. If you want it to be a little bit more active, you can come up onto the hands or even lift the arms all the way up. But I'm gonna go ahead and start nice and low to the ground, breathing into the front of my right hip. My legs are nice and active. I'm not collapsing into that front hip. I'm really pressing through the back shin and the front foot, and then my arms are supporting me here. Using your breath is really gonna help that muscle to let go. So breathing is super important, as important, if not more important, than the position you're in itself. We're gonna hang out here for 30 to 90 seconds. If 90 is a little too long for you, you can go ahead and repeat that position a couple times. I'm gonna go ahead and switch sides. So I'm stepping my right foot forward to find some length in the front of my left hip. And just notice one side is gonna probably feel different. There typically are imbalances in our body, which is normal. So just bringing that to our intention and breathing. Feel free to cushion your back knee if it's a little uncomfortable, especially if you have a very bony knee. Nice. So from here, now we can work on finding length through the back of the leg. So you're gonna start in that same low lunge. Actually, let me do this side first. And then from here, we're gonna scoot that back knee back. Again, cushion that back knee if you need to. And then we're gonna start to shift the weight back towards the back leg. You can tuck the back toes or keep them flat. I like to tuck my toes to get a little bit more of a stretch in my foot. Now, from here, my knee is almost fully straight, but it's not locked out. It's very easy for people, especially people who are very flexible, to overextend that front knee. So we want a little bit of activation to keep a slight bend in that knee. Hips are facing forward, toes are active. And then in this position, in order to really make sure we're getting the stretch or finding length in the thigh, we wanna make sure we have a nice neutral spine. So if you don't have blocks and you find that you're really rounded, see if you can come up a little bit higher, grabbing anything, even if it's not a block, but blocks can be super helpful to help find that opening in the chest, nice neutral spine, to really target the back of the leg. And then we come forward and we'll switch sides. So I'm gonna go ahead, starting in my lunge, tucking the back knee, scooching it back, and then starting to shift my weight backwards, toe facing up, and then see what height works best for you in order to really find that bend in the hip while keeping a nice neutral spine. So I even feel this down my calf. Again, I'm not warmed up at all. then slowly coming forward and bringing the knee back. All right, so that's a very quick warm up. You might need more than that. Things like pyramid pose, your warrior one, your warrior two are gonna help you prepare. A camel, anything that's gonna open up the front of the body, the hips, and the back of the legs, the thighs, the calves. So from here, it's gonna be very similar to how we got in originally, and there's probably multiple ways to get in and out of this, but I'm gonna keep my blocks on hand because I know I'm gonna need them, and I'll do one leg and then I'll do the other just so you can see the difference. My left leg, especially when I was a cheerleader, was always the one that was more flexible, so I'm gonna start with this one and this will be the good side for me, the good side. Okay, so I'm gonna step my foot forward and I'm gonna slowly start to floss forward and backward through those two postures we just warmed up in. Just see how it feels. Good. Then you can start to scooch that knee back just like we did before, and we're gonna flatten that back foot as opposed to keeping the toes curled under. So I'm gonna use my blocks to help support my body weight as I start to crawl my front foot forward. So my hips are facing forward, my legs are super engaged, my upper body is supporting me, and I'm breathing. I feel this in both the front of my right hip and the back of my left thigh. So we have Hanumanasana. And to come out, I'm gonna keep my toes flexed and just slide my foot back and step my foot back. So let's see what that looks like from a different angle doing the other side. So again, I'm gonna step my foot forward, check in here, especially if I still feel like I need a little bit more movement to warm up, to prepare. Just move nice and slow. You shouldn't force anything, nothing should feel painful. And then whenever you're ready, you can start to scooch that back knee back first. Make sure it's straight out behind you, and then you can start to crawl your foot forward. So it's not as big as a difference as I thought. It definitely feels different, and I can tell I'm a little bit further away from the ground. And I'm resting here and breathing into the legs. Upper body is engaged, core is engaged, and trying to find some softness in my face and my neck. And then to come out, I'll slide my foot back, bring my knee in, and you just did Hanumanasana. You're working towards a split if you want to.